How would it feel to have a thriving fitness business and have the freedom to enjoy life at the fullest? Well, that is exactly what the Trainer Revenue Multiplier Show is going to give you. My name is Mathew Park. This is Jaime Filer.
Hey guys.
And we are here to serve. Good morning, everyone. I have my amazing monthly podcast interview with the host of the TRM podcast. I'm coming in as the guest today to be with my amazing partner in crime, Jaime Filer, as she's traveling right now with her mom. And it's such a pleasure to be with you, Jaime, and of course, share some insight with you and pick your brain as we kind of collectively just share some knowledge together, Jaime. So how are you doing this morning, champ?
I'm doing really well. Everything is good. Gotten in a great workout. It's already been very productive. I feel good. How are you?
I'm good. Just finished a workout this morning as well. I did some functional workout this morning with Quran. I feel like my body's right now kind of in a heated position after the training, so I'm good to go.
Let's crush it.
Sweet, man. So should we get this this podcast kind of rocking and rolling? What do you think?
Absolutely. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's do it.
So usually you're always leading all the interviews, all the amazing questions that you, of course, you do. So we can kind of go back and forth as we always do and just, shoot, share, have fun, and share some knowledge as we always do.
Perfect. Let's do it. So do you want me to kind of conduct, or how do you want me to ask?
You're a pretty good conductor, Jaime. I'm not going to lie.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to actually let the orchestrator kind of go over to you if you don't mind.
Okay, I didn't know if I was your guest or if you were mine, but we are all good. So, we're going to talk front end sales process. We're going to talk about, cutting through the marketplace noise, building better client relationships, essentially the 3 stages of what happens when a potential client wants to work with you. So first thing, we've got the front end. They come in through the front end, the attract phase. What is the front end?
Jaime, I'll kind of use an example because obviously, you've really, done a really good job on your front end sales process from an aspect of even what your image is and how you've really niched it down. Like, actually, you're becoming what I would say like an expert in how to niche down and really attract your ideal audience and who you serve. So with that being said, the front end basically is a few things. Number one, it's your content. It's your message, it's your story, it's your relatability to your clientele that you're obviously targeting to. It's the value you're bringing to the table. And then obviously it's also a call to action at the end of the day to bring them into your sales process to build trust.
Yeah, for sure. I think the other way to define front end, if we were looking at it more from a business perspective, is as an offer. What is your front end offer? What is it that you sell once you do all of the things Mathew just mentioned? So for example, the inner outer strength system is our front end offer of a 12-week integrative mental and physical health program. Other people I've seen have like the 90-day functionally fit hormone, this and that, the 60-day metabolic reboot mentorship, right? So what is the front end offer? What is the initial time frame of your contract? What is your container?
I love that, Jaime. It's so cool because you're exactly right. Your model has this unique 12-week program that obviously goes into your coaching program as well, right? And all that you're doing on the front end to bring in your ideal client is really niche down to your audience on who you're trying to serve, who you're serving. And it's really, you're calling them almost out right now, almost every single post you're doing, right?
Yeah.
And it's amazing, like your audience. And how has that changed your business, Jaime?
It's really brought us in more of the right people, because people will initially start following me because they resonate with my message. And I think that's you mentioned calls to action. It's never buy my program. Well, I don't want to say never. I don't like using that word, but maybe once every 7 to 10 days, we say buy my program. But the other 6 to 9 days, it's just get value. Take what you want from me. If you just feel like this is a safe space because the LGBTQ community is persecuted and harassed, then stick around. If you just had no idea how to navigate your physical health because you have anxiety, then stick around. So it's made a huge difference because now the people who stick around, like they're in it. They're there with me. They're my community.
Well, you build trust. You build trust in the front end, right? You build that,
Right.
relatability, the value, the storyline, more about you, sharing client testimonial stories, some of the members in your group, your team.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
really is a front end process to attracting who you want to serve.
Totally. Yes. Yep. So that brings us to a really good question, Mathew, is how can coaches improve the front end process? How can they build trust a little bit better? Or, however you define front end process, how can
Mm.
coaches improve it?
Well, you nailed it, Jamie, with the offer, right? Really kind of making it down. Obviously, in TRM, when you join TRM, the first thing we talk about and build for you is your offer, and your business model is your offer. So
Yeah.
once that's set, then you go in and look at basically what are things you're putting in the marketplace, adding value, right? Creating a storyline, a message, relatability, and then create more value and share those success stories and client testimonial stories to create authority, but also trust with people like these people. Jamie actually has success stories of people that are going through our program, getting A, B, and C results. Now
Mhm.
they want to go and experience more about what she has to offer at the end of the day, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think you pretty much nailed it. I don't know. I don't even know if this has an SOP. Like, how can you improve it? Do it better. I think when it comes to your offer, deliver it better. If you don't yet have a PowerPoint or something you pull up so that a client can see their journey, or testimonials that you pull up and say, hey, Ashley was just like you when she joined the program. If you don't have a follow up process, if people say, can I think about it, or yes, these are all different ways to improve your front end. But also, let's not neglect the use of systems. If
Mhm.
the payment method is complicated, if the contract has someone else's name on it by
Mhm.
accident for whatever reason, you have improvements to make.
Yep, 100%. Totally. Well, and even from the aspect of, your verbiage has gotten really niched down, your language, your message really got niched down. So you're creating this value, and also for TRM as well, we create value from both sides, right? But we're
Yeah.
also becoming more specific on the message, the market, the story, the value we're providing that does actually relate to our clientele that we're serving.
Yeah. Yep. So I guess it all starts with improve your messaging. By improving your messaging, you will improve the front end process.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Um, when someone comes on a call, what should trainers consider and keep in mind?
I think that the thing coming into a call for a coach when they're really having their sales call is call it more of an aspect of spend 20% of your time talking, 80% of your time listening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't rush it. Have your process, have your 7 steps of sales that you do in your call, know
Mhm.
how to handle your objections, but then spend your time asking the key questions to dig
Yeah.
into what their needs are, what their wants are, and then, of course, how you can serve them with solutions.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. I love that answer. And the only thing I would add is, if you're not already taking notes on these sales calls, friends, that's something you're going to want to start. Number one, in case, well, regardless of whether say yes, no, or I'll think about it, you're always going to need to refer back to notes. Because if
Mhm.
they say yes, then in 8 to 12 weeks, when it's time for them to renew, you're going to want to go over those notes and say, hey, here are the things you told me you wanted 8 weeks ago. How good are we at delivering that service? And they're going to be like, you guys were amazing. Great. What else do you want from us? Right. But also at the time, so that you can repeat their language back to them. When we say, sentences like, you know, it, I see, so it seems like, or it sounds to me like, or what I'm hearing is, you're just going to repeat their words back to them and they're going to say, oh my God, yes, that's exactly how it feels. And you'll be like, I know, I get it. I've been there, or Ashley's been there, or whatever. So you can improve your process also by just taking notes and listening better.
One thing you mentioned on a call, a TRM call a while back, you mentioned about the importance of recording those calls, right?
Yeah.
And what's really important, that's very, very valuable. And one thing that, of course, you can also do that can be one step, as you mentioned, record your sales calls, but also take those transcription notes after. If you're recording them, transcribe it, and then actually plug it into ChatGPT and actually ask the questions. What were the key points of the sales call, right? What are things they brought up that we can, of course, leverage off of? So you kind of like take your notes, as Jamie mentioned, and then leverage your technology, but then learn from your mistakes or ways you can improve on how you ask questions.
Absolutely. Yeah, right. Because everyone, whether it's, man, I should have said this, right? Like on a sales call, or even if you were in a group and you thought you wanted to be really funny, but the joke didn't occur to you till the next day, right? Like this is a skill you can work on for sure. For sure.
I love that. Yeah, totally. Totally. Even the recapping of things. I think you mentioned, Jane, the note taking, the recording, and then of course recapping, like asking ChatGPT, boom, what were the key points in the sales call? What are the next steps in this person's message? And then where can I almost asking what can you do better next on your sales call? You might get some pretty cool answers to find out ways you can improve or things you might
Yeah.
have said that could have, like you said, not been the appropriate time to say that.
Yep. Agreed. So we mentioned trust a lot so
Mhm.
far, just even in the last 10 minutes. What can trainers do? What do you encourage? How can we can conduct trust building sales calls that result in a yes?
Mm. I think the first thing, obviously, is rapport building initially in the call. And then from trust comes who have you worked with in the past, right? And then getting really almost intrigued about them and what they actually are having a struggle with, or what their backstory is, or
Yep.
what's been their industry experience. Of course, if you're talking about TRM calls, but in your case, Jamie, it's more about like what are you struggling right now with your physical or mental, capabilities right now. How can we, dig into that a bit more? So
Yeah.
I think it's the aspect of the one word, curiosity.
Yeah. 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 I would say curiosity followed by, like we just said, repetition.
Mhm.
When you repeat back to people what they say, it makes them feel heard. And
Mhm.
sometimes you might be the only person in their life who's demonstrating that level of hearing and understanding, which definitely builds trust. And of course, it goes without saying you're doing it in a genuine way.
Yeah.
Um, and we had a great call with Joe about how to essentially build empathy on a call. And then the other thing, and I learned this from oh my gosh, the book by the FBI hostage negotiate, Never Split the Difference. He said that you want to hear me too. You want to say it.
Mhm.
You want to say it and you want to hear it. That builds trust from the beginning. Like,
Mhm.
hey, what are some of your hobbies? And they're like, I like walking my dog. And I was like, no way, me too. I have
Mhm.
2 dogs. What breed are yours? Right? Or I played college basketball. Oh my God, I played in high school. That's so impressive. You went on to play college. Right. So I think that also builds trust when you have a story that can relate to something. Again, whether it's dogs or basketball or anxiety or fat loss. Yeah.
I love that, James. So, question for you on your sales calls, because obviously I love that Me Too analogy. I think the other aspect I've noticed on some of the calls I've been on, it too, and I'd love to hear your answer on this, Jim, how you handle these. I know that you go through the sales call, all of a sudden it comes to a point where they're like, well, so what exactly is your background? Right?
Yeah.
What have you been doing? Right?
Right.
Again, creates trust, right? So when that question comes for you, Jamie, or maybe there's a way you do your sales calls, how do you conduct your storytelling in your background to create relatability to the individual?
Right. So I typically don't bring up my background unless they ask. And some people
Mhm.
do and some people don't. Like, and some will say, what's your education background? Others will say, how did you get into this? Others will just be like, straight up, how long have you been in business?
Yeah.
Right. It depends what they're looking for. But typically, I mean, my story begins with an eating disorder. It
Mhm.
kind of it peaks with a lack of confidence. And then we get the old, like, I fell in love with weight training and couldn't understand why more women weren't doing it. And that, and so you've got all oh, and then somehow I end up incorporating like my father's passing, like, um, so I find a way that, like, between the mental health struggle, the body dysmorphia, the physical health, the confidence, there's
Mhm.
no aspect that they don't see themselves in my story.
And whenever you share that, obviously, if they ask, right,
Yeah.
how you notice the change in their language, how they lean in, like how they almost like their shoulders drop, but like, wow, Jamie, she's got this powerful story. Do you notice that difference in their call?
I do. I do. I feel like they don't, because as much as I try to tell my stories, plural, online and be relatable, if you're just scrolling through my Instagram, you see like an attractive woman with an even more attractive wife, a solid body, raving, and you're like, what could this woman possibly know about what I'm struggling with?
Mhm.
So I love when people ask me about it. As much as I hate talking about myself, I
Mhm.
love presenting the opportunity to show them I'm human, I'm immortal, I've been, on the continuum of body weight, and I get it.
So guys, that's what's intriguing about that, Jamie, is that that's really trust building in a sales call,
Yeah,
if they ask for it, or of course, if they want to hear about it. And I think what's neat is if you're going for that sale and all of a sudden I hear this about Jamie, I'm like, wow, she is human. I want to work with her because she understands me. She gets me.
yeah,
So her program sounds like an awesome fit now, because now you're probably going to go for an actual sales presentation, right?
yes,
And all of a sudden the barrier is like, it wasn't just like kind of hearing your needs, but it's
yeah,
also, I actually want to work because she gets what I have as a problem and she can
yeah.
solve it for me.
And I think that's the other advantage. And obviously, this doesn't necessarily apply to everyone, but I have a team.
Yeah.
It's myself and 4 coaches. And if I haven't experienced something you're going through, you better believe I have 4 other people, one of whom has to be able to relate to your story, right? Which is the other reason I don't take on barely any clients anymore, because at the end of the day, like, you're right. I don't know what it's like to be 300 pounds, but I absolutely might have a coach who does, right? Or I don't struggle with my hormones, but I have a coach who's had gut health issues since she was born, right? So I think that also helps build trust to say, listen, I acknowledge I'm not the best one for you on my team anymore, right? I'm taking my armor off. I'm being vulnerable. I have someone better for you.
That is a great trust building sales call, Jamie. I love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
So follow-up question to that is, what important steps after a sales call should we be looking at trainers
Mm.
for trainers to do?
So of course, follow up is one thing we talked about since day one in TRM, even when you first joined TRM, right? It's almost like the cliche term now. But I think what comes into now is, how do you maintain and continue to build on trust
Yeah.
with the follow up process? And it isn't just an email, guys. I think it comes down to, how can you go a mile deep? So a few things here. Number one is traditional texting after you finish a call, obviously. But what if you actually started to give a selfie video, thanking them for the call, saying it was so good to meet you and actually have a chance to connect with you. Looking forward to seeing you again or working with you in the near future, or our next call we have tomorrow to go deeper on what we talked about today.
Yeah.
And then following up with that email to give them the recap and success stories, and they can research you a bit more. Some
Yeah.
people are ready to buy, but need a little more touch point just to get over the hump.
Yeah.
You did the objection, but all of a sudden they want to just look over some more success stories of your clients. Boom.
Right. And because again, you might not have it. You've never been 300 pounds, but like
Yes.
Jesse has, and you helped Jesse. So it doesn't matter whether you have that story, you have the skills for that story.
100%, James.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
What are things that you've done in your sales process after the call that have enhanced and improved your follow-up to build that trust deeper and lead to a sale?
Lead to a sale. I mean, I like you said, value add testimonial phone call. That's
Mm-hmm.
pretty much my process.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, Mathew, that Amazon Prime, when
Mm.
people say yes, let me explain. So when people say yes, we'll talk about building trust, because again, we know that buyer's remorse can happen in up to 30% of cases, right?
Yeah.
People regret, they end up talking to their spouse. So what I immediately do if a client pays in full is I take a look at my notes from the sales call. And when I ask them what their interests and hobbies were, I will immediately buy something on Amazon for them between $30 and $50 that relates to one of their hobbies. So for example, I bought for a client the other week, oh my gosh, it was like Dungeons and Dragons socks, because she says she runs a D&D thing, plus a keychain that had some Dungeons and Dragons pun on it, and then a collapsible water thing for her dog because she goes hiking in Massachusetts with him. And I made sure that it was delivered the next day between 4 a.m. and 7 a.m.
Wow.
Right? So she hasn't even gotten a plan yet, but she's given me like $2,400. She might be wondering what the heck, but then she gets like, wow, oh my God, this woman, even if D&D is nerdy or whatever, like she took the time to listen to what I care about. She sent me and my dog a gift. This team cares. Okay, you know what? I trust Filer Fitness a little bit more.
That's a great note taker, James. You
Yeah.
know, So you asked the question, what was their hobbies? From the question, it led into, of course, having a barrier of what you were going to invest based on what
Yep.
you've, of course, they invested. They get the pretty much the next day,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Right. That's great, Jamie. I like that. Wow.
Yeah. I think that, again, that builds trust. Like, because again, this is something you want to ask them anyway, so that you can say, me
Mhm.
too, right? Oh, you play
Mhm.
Dungeons and Dragons? I used to play magic cards or whatever. But also then you can buy them a gift based on that, which again, I'm investing in you, you're investing in me. I'm hearing what you're saying.
This is great because you've taken almost like a personal touch. You have systems, right? You've got your email, your follow-up, your SMS, all that cool stuff happening. Now
Yeah.
you've added one more personal layer, which is super cool,
Yep.
that really almost creates, that wow experience, James. That's a great nugget.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. So that's what I do. And then with the people who say no, building trust by giving them a value right away, text message and email. Here's my free macro cheat sheet.
Mhm.
Just because I can't help you now doesn't mean I can't help you ever. I'm going to follow up in 90 days, make sure that everything's copacetic. Enjoy this resource in the meantime. And
I
then
love that.
hopefully the engine follows up in 90 days.
I love that. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Okay. Wow. Wow.
And then we'll close this out. Last pearls of wisdom, synopsis of the 3 steps within the sales process.
Mm. So we've talked 3 things: front, basically call, and then the back end follow up. And
Yeah.
we've really kind of shared some really great nuggets from all 3 aspects.
Mm.
So if you're listening, it would come into taking one nugget from each front, middle, call, and back, and apply it in the next 4 weeks into your business, if not even this week into your business. Even take one this week, maybe one the week after, and one the week after, and keep taking those nuggets. This call, honestly, Amy, is worth, like, it's almost like a coaching call, to be honest.
Oh,
For somebody.
we just summarized essentially 3 to 6 modules of TRM in here. Yeah.
This is a very valuable call for a coach right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Yep.
I love that, James. What about your side? What things did you kind of pick out of this call that were almost like tying everything together?
I mean, I know this is going to sound cliche because I'm like the social media guru, but one of the best ways to build trust is deliver value in advance. A lot of reasons people buy from us is because they've been following us for the last 6 months, or they knew one of our coaches, or whatever reason. So it's the stuff that you don't think matters that really matters. The coaching call essentially just seals the deal, but it's everything you've been doing on this end of the phone for 3, 6, 12, 24 months that's going to have people know, like, and trust you.
That is a great point, Jamie. I love that. Really, it really is, And, looking the aspect of whatever you pick out of Jamie or I today that you want to apply into your business, apply it right away, and let us know the results. Let us know the results. Either share to us, DM us, go in the group of your client, let us know how it works. And we're looking forward to seeing your business keep rocking and rolling, like, as we keep serving at all levels.
Amazing, guys. If you like what you heard, as Mathew said, please make sure you share, subscribe, message, rate the podcast so that we can keep delivering valuable nuggets to you guys. Mathew, where can people find you?
Official Mathew Park with 1 T. And how about yourself, Jamie?
I am at Jaime91, JIM91. We are at Training Revenue Multiplier. Have the best rest of your day, and we will catch you on the next episode.
Awesome, James. As always, fist bump. Love it, man.